Turiskathere in Atenveld, and my co-host is Lizette Dulac, also from the same place, and we are the baronial champions for arts and sciences this year. So we thought it would be fun to do a baking thing, and we know we miss all our cooks, and we're wanted to do a little showcase for the people who cook, and we thought, well, people make really pretty food, so hopefully this will work out. And so I wanted to choose an item that I am interested in because I learned about Sabine Velserin a few years ago when I went to an event in Caid, and I asked Lizette to choose an item that she likes. So hopefully you've all made some foods, and then we have some prizes to give out towards the end of the afternoon. Lizette, would you like to start?
My Kringle isn't actually fully ready yet, so you can start us off.
Okay. So my item was number 193 in the Velserin cookbook, and I have made it for today. I don't know if you can see it very well, but some dumplings. Yeah.
Your virtual background kind of interferes with the visual for the dish.
I'm trying to put it in front of my face. So here's one of my dumplings. I actually haven't tried them yet, and I did some extra things to them that are not in the recipe, because in the recipe it says that you're supposed to use chickens, and one of the reasons I picked that recipe is because I thought that, you know, with all our busy lives, it might be easier for somebody to just go to the store and get a rotisserie. So you could do that. And I actually had leftover turkey, so I decided to do that. And then the recipe says to make it yellow, so I chose saffron because that was period. They had that at that time in the 1500s, and also in Europe. My family is actually from that part of Germany, Stuttgart, and I looked up lots of things about that. And I think actually that they would have possibly done the potato type of dumpling with the potato outside part, the potato dough, because that's mostly what I found as far as like local foods for that area. I didn't have any potatoes though, so I used just egg, water, salt, and flour, and then boiled them in the broth like it says. So hopefully it's tasty. I haven't actually tried it yet. Has anybody else made this item? Either unmute yourself or raise your hand or whatever you want to do. Did anybody else?
Sorry, I forgot I had muted. I've not made that particular item. I've made a variety of noodles in the past, some taken from Italian sources and some from German sources. And most of them are all just flour ones.
Also just the flour dumpling with the stuffings inside?
Yes, because our potatoes, I don't think potatoes have arrived yet in Velserin's time.
That's a possibility too. It also has a recipe for, it claims to be the translation is ravioli, but my family has had those Maultaschen for years and years, and I did look that up, but supposedly that didn't come until sometime in the 1600s from some monks. But since she has almost the same recipe in her book, I'm thinking that it just, you know, they just decided to claim it back then. But it had been being made all this time. So that was one of the other reasons I went with the dough and egg recipe, but I couldn't find any besides that ravioli Maultaschen version that had sort of a dough like that.
Filled doughs are really pretty common throughout. I mean, the Poles have them, the Romans had them, so I think you probably hit it smack on.
Well, I just tasted and it's really tasty. I did use the turkey broth that I had instead of the chicken. And that was very yummy. So I think they would have used what they had. I know they didn't have turkey, but I think they would
Well,
have
yeah.
kind of bird.
Why would you throw out the leftover pheasant and pheasant broth from last night and start with a fresh chicken? You know,
Right.
you use whatever was at hand unless you were preparing a special meal.
And also adding, like if you just had a little bit of meat and then adding like doughy soup stuff to it would also expand without spending a lot of money.
Yeah. You know, toss in an egg and some vegetables or whatever you happen to have. And your one serving of whatever meat now becomes 4.
I was curious about why they had Parmesan, but really, I mean, they're kind of close to Italy, so possibly they had some trade with them.
Where was her city again? I've forgotten.
It's Augsburg, which is in between Munich and Stuttgart, so it's pretty not really that far from Italy.
Yeah, and also, now if I can find it, there was a wonderful book I found many, many years ago, and it was The Letters of Balthazar and Magdalena. And he was a minor member of one of the trading families, and I want to say Nuremberg. Here they are. And it's absolutely fascinating because she it speaks of her and all of the things that he's expecting of her, and some of the restrictions she faces. But one of the things that was most fascinating was the amount of stuff that was traded. I mean, she gets orders for everything. She's his agent, really.
Right.
And so cheeses would have, they would have gotten cheese up there. Parmesan's a great shipper because it, doesn't spoil really well easily.
Right. And they had saffron and other, like she mentioned, a whole bunch of different spices that were not grown where they were necessarily. They were shipped in from other places. So like her whole book has cinnamon and clove and all sorts of stuff in there that was not necessarily from that area.
If
I
I
was
may,
right. They are
if
from
I may
Nuremberg.
interject for just a moment. If you don't have your chat window open, we do have a person who does not have a microphone or video. So she is including her comments in the chat.
Yeah, I was reading Anya's, if that's who you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to draw your attention to that. I didn't know if that was something that you were seeing.
Yeah, and Anya, you mentioned that there's equivalent to cheese to Parmesan. Do you know which ones those are? Does anybody else, did anybody else make the food? Did anybody make the food?
No, I didn't actually know that was a suggestion for today. A friend just poked at me and said, hey, they're doing this. You want to go? And I said, sure.
That's cool that you didn't make it. I just was we have got quite a few other people in the group, and I was hoping maybe somebody had made it. I actually did it last minute myself, so I just thought that we could discuss the different possibilities of, that's how these kind of recipes are. You don't know exactly what they had in mind because they're so vague. Make it yellow, that could mean anything, Anybody?
So I actually have my crinkle out of the oven now.
Ooh, nice.
It's achieved by taking the strips of it and braiding the strips together, then braiding those strips together and making a big wreath So if you can see all the different strips in there.
Ooh, that looks really yummy. Can I come over?
Yeah, sure.
I approve.
Are you the royal taster?
I'm the poison checker.
Good job.
Huzzah.
I'm just gonna eat this now.
No.
What is the flavor in it, Lisette?
So this is an Estonian kringle, which is a cinnamon braid. So if you look on most recipes, it is say Estonian kringle dash cinnamon braid bread. So I did modify it a slight bit. I have made this recipe before for the ANS competition, and then COVID hit and we weren't allowed to like bake anything because nobody could taste it. And that time I found at first the kringle was super cinnamony. I added too much cinnamon. We were thinking about adding more sugar. Originally you're not supposed to really put the powdered sugar on there, but I thought it looked pretty. So yeah, I added more sugar. I did less strips so it's not overpowering for the dough.
And then it would cook more evenly.
And then it cooked more evenly too, because the center was a little squishy.
Have you thought of not using powdered sugar, but using regular sugar on top of it? And seeing how that would change the texture? If you get a little crispier texture with regular sugar?
So I did actually do that this time. Instead of adding cinnamon on top, because last time I just shook a bunch of cinnamon on top and was like, yay, it's supposed to be a cinnamon bread, right? But that led to cinnamon overpowering. So I sprinkled some sugar on top before I baked it, and my taste tester here has been eating it and
Okay.
taking bites, like if you can see right there. But is it affecting the texture? Because you have now had both of them.
Yeah, so I like this one better with the less braids in it, because we did say that it got a little squishy on the inside. So what do you do? 3 braids this time, or 3 strings?
Yeah, I rolled it into one big log, and then I cut it halfway, and between that I probably did about four complete strips, which made maybe 2-3 braids.
But it's got a nice crisp on the outside, but then it's still soft on the inside, so it's good. I approve.
Is there cinnamon? You said you put cinnamon on top of it. Did you put cinnamon like in between the braids or just on top?
Yes. So it's actually very similar to making a cinnamon roll, where you make the dough, you let it rise, and then you roll it out. And then you add like a butter and cinnamon sugar on the inside. And from there is when you roll it into the log and split it and then braid it.
Cool.
So each one of these little tubes basically is
This is really good.
is cinnamon and sugar. So cinnamon roll with extra steps.
Nice. Well, it's very pretty and it looks delicious.
Thank you.
Do you think that in period they would have used that much sugar? Like they didn't have a lot of sugar necessarily. So maybe unless it was the king's table.
No, I don't think because yeah, you're right. They wouldn't have had that much sugar, but I do. So
we tried it last time with the period recipe, and we decided that it was not up to our modern sweetness taste. And so we decided this time to add more sugar, and it is
fancy
cinnamon roll. It's really good.
So the creative part of creative anachronism.
Yes.
Yes. So originally,
So-
I did find 'cause
Question.
like I said, this was gonna be for ANS. So your taste tester is sitting there mumbling about how good it is.
So like you can see like that's the inside of it. So it was rolled and then it has like the cinnamon on the inside, as well as like when you plat it, then it has like cinnamon on the outer layer too.
Yeah, but like in the inside is what I'm talking about, where
Okay, there you go.
it is have cinnamon and
Yeah.
sugar on the inside.
Nice.
Super good.
For the people that just joined, can you give us the source of that recipe again?
Yes, we'll find it real quick and put it in the chat for you guys. We'll put a link to it.
I
Thank
think
you.
that, or somebody said they had a question. Who had a question?
That was me, Odette. I had a question for Lizette about the you were saying that it wasn't up to our modern taste of sweetness. Do you think that that doing these recipes closer to what would have been available will impact your taste for recreating these recipes?
Yeah, if I would continue to go down this path of making more medieval style food, then yes, in my opinion, and this is none whatsoever of how it is, but in my opinion, I feel medieval food, medieval style recipes and food and everything is bland. But that's just me because I am used to having, the modern food. But the more you have and bake the medieval food, the more you get used to it. But in my opinion, it's just bland because they didn't have that many spices. It was kind of luxury, kind of a king's table sort of thing, and just how it is. But it is really good.
Well, also American tastes are different than European tastes as far like what Magdalene is saying in the chat. They eat a lot less sugar than we do, and also being inundated with like the high fructose corn syrup and stuff gets you used to it more and more sweet stuff. So that's also a taste thing. And I know like my parents are elderly and they definitely do not like as much sweet stuff. So as you get older, you don't like it as much either. Did anybody else make a Kringle? I know I didn't, but I would like to because it looks delicious.
Delicious. I just had some of the new one. It's really good. But has anybody else made something similar to this?
For either of the recipes, does anybody have any suggestions on maybe recipes they got from somewhere other source that are similar that maybe would improve our recipes?
That I've made to the Kringle, which is not very close at all, which is the Crispels, where you fry the pie dough for all intents and purposes, and then roll it in honey. But that's about as close as I've gotten to a Kringle.
That actually sounds kind of good. Like,
If somebody asked for something like the donuts for her vigil table, and that is as close as I could come up to with for late 14th century, early 15th century donut-esque that I could document at that time. So it's basically the pie dough that has the egg in it that you then deep fry and roll in honey. It's amazing.
yeah, that sounds really good.
Oh wait, no, I just typed it.
Fried bread is in general pretty tasty. Any way you make it. Anya is mentioning a Vonica bread that is braided. That sounds yummy too. And then
Vanaka?
with nuts.
It's a vanoshka.
Oh, sorry,
I think it's
vanoshka,
pronounced.
and stuffed with nuts and dried fruits. Yeah, I think that when you add fruits to things, that you don't need to put as much other kinds of sugar generally. Does anybody have any additional things they'd like to add about any kind of dumplings they've ever made, or any other kind of breads?
So I've made vanoshka bread, and it was off of a Czechoslovakian lady who has a YouTube channel, and it is from a period recipe, and it's like a lemon bread that they have in Christmas, and they sprinkle it with powdered sugar, and it's braided, and it's with yeast, so you've got to let it rise and everything, and they braid it in a way that it's like supposed to represent baby Jesus in a manger.
Okay. Is the lemon candied, sort of like in a Stollen, or?
No, it's just lemon peel, the lemon zest.
That sounds very tasty also.
Pretty much.
Do you serve that at feasts, or like just to your family, or?
I've entered it into competitions, which is very nice. You could totally do this as a feast because you could have fun with the braiding for presentation. Do like rounds and all different kinds of intricacies of weaving. So that would be really great. And you could totally put dried fruit in there. I personally wouldn't, but yeah. And you do sprinkle it with almonds as well.
Oh, like sliced?
Yeah, well, you could do whatever, but I do sliced, definitely.
Yeah. So originally this recipe would have been made with almonds in it. With almonds, that's what it says. But I do not like nutty bread. Like I don't like nuts in stuff unless they're supposed to be there. So that is an example of another way I modified it.
Anya mentions that the nuts and dried fruits go back to the 1400s, and candied lemon peels only started in the 1700s. So possibly because they didn't have that much sugar, it's pretty sugary. So I mean, my mom always made Stollen with her candied fruit, but I don't know how far back that goes because I never actually looked that up. Anybody else have anything to add about either dumplings or breads? Anya's mentioning sockets and candied peels from the 1500s, I think.
So there's the YouTube link of the modern day vanoshka bread, and I remember when I was put it into ANS, I did do the research that it went back to, I think, the 1400s and whatnot, and because it was done in a church or something like that, that's why they braided it in such a way and all this other stuff to represent the baby Jesus. So, but that's a modern day recipe that you could use with the flour ratios and everything.
Sharon Palmer is asking if we can talk about period recipes. Absolutely. Please tell us all about the period recipes. My recipe was from period with the Sabine Velzerin, and if anybody has any other dumpling period recipes they'd like to talk about, feel free. And then many of the bread recipes we talked about were also. Right. Sharon said that even though the name was in period, doesn't mean necessarily the recipe is, which is true. You know, I mean, they evolve. So if you have ones that, well, I mean, like the recipe that I suggested from Sabina Velserin, I don't know how I would do that just from her recipe, because a lot of it is like hearsay. You've been taught, you talk to your other cooks, or you know, your mom taught you, or the cook taught you, or something, and you're supposed to automatically know what it means by making something turn yellow, or use some dough. Like, well, they don't tell you what kind of dough, so you kind of have to extrapolate and guess and hope that you've got it right. That's what I did with mine. So do you have any suggestions on like period ones that you'd like to include? She's suggesting the Ein New cookbook from 1581. Also sounds German-ish. And Anya says the older ones are just bread dough with fruits and nuts in them. So, I mean, it just kind of, it all started back then, but continued to be added to, sounds like. And Anya says there's a reference in the 1400s for pouring honey over something before baking. Would that make the honey like kind of crisp up? Anya, have you tried that?
It does. I've
It
used
would
that in
crystallize
modern
it.
cooking.
Kind of sounds like a Maillard effect. The browning of breads and baked goods usually have a browning.
It's pretty much the same thing as basting something with butter before you bake it.
But the butter, I mean, the butter just kind of turns brown, but doesn't the sugar, I mean, the honey, does it act like more like sugar where it, or because it's liquidy, it doesn't really get that?
It does crystallize, but it also helps with the browning.
And Anya says, of course, Apicius, I'm probably butchering that, even had something dipped in honey, but usually after baking, it's like sugar and depends on how old your honey is. I honestly love crystallized honey on my toast, so. Did you have something to say, Lady Paisley?
I found, yeah, where the Vinoshka bread was, it was dated in the 1400s as a traditional Christmas bread. Its unique braiding was to symbolize Christ child wrapping in cloth and whatnot, but we know it is a rich combination of eggs and butter to make it a very moist bread with lemons and rum flavors and fruits and raisins and sugars and nuts.
Sounds very similar to a Stollen.
Yeah. It's like the Christmas version of it.
Well, I mean, in my family, Stollen is a Christmas bread.
Right.
My mom makes it for us for Christmas every year. And that's
Anybody was interested, I just found some history on the Estonian Kringle.
okay. Are you linking it or?
Yes, I can do that.
in case you guys are catching the chat or not catching the chat, Lady Paisley has posted a long thing about the bread that we've been talking about. And Anya says that Stollen is the same as Vanoshka now. But yeah, I mean, they all pretty much sound very similar, just from slightly different regions.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like bread, eggs, and milk and flour put together.
With
With some things added in.
Right.
Anybody else have anything to add? All right, well, since not too many people made the recipes, that kind of cuts things short a little bit, I suppose. I would like to say that we could do the prizes now and show off the pretty things that people made. And then if anybody wants to continue talking about whatever kind of period recipes they want afterwards, we could do that. What do you think, Lizette?
I think if anybody wants, well, we should show the pictures of the people who entered. That way everybody knows who is entering. In case,
I think we have the ones of the people who won to put up, but not necessarily the ones that, like all of them.
Right. I was just thinking that anybody that the people who entered in the Facebook discussion we should put their picture up and then announce who's winning.
Well, I can pull up the Facebook event and show all the posts that were there. It's a long list, but I can scroll down through it. Is that what you'd like?
Oh, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
give me a minute.
All right, thank you.
We didn't have very many entries, but we do have some prize winners. Unfortunately, no kids entered. Lizette was really hoping that some kids would. So if you have any kids in your life, please encourage them to enter things and not just in cooking, but other FCA type related artsy things.
Yes, it would be very nice to have somebody to compete against for ANS.
Yeah, I get that totally. But we did have some nice pies. I even made a pie for Thanksgiving for my family and made it all pretty and showed that off. So they'll probably be down in the list somewhere when Kian can get his share picture thingy up. As you can tell, I'm super versed with all these computery things.
Can everyone see my screen share?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I've got everything expanded, hopefully. Tell me when you need me to scroll down.
Well, right now we're just looking at the example post that you have, so you can go down a little bit to our first person who entered something, which actually is Hillary. And she didn't, I don't know if she misunderstood about entering things because that wasn't really a category, but she actually made a cool video of the dumplings that she made. So I suggest everybody go check that out when you have a minute. We don't need to watch it right now, but you know, people can go back and look at it. But I thought it was pretty neat that she did that. And she also had a cook. She's part of a cook guild down in Monster Nitrous in Aitenfeld, and she also did that on, I believe, Thursday night. Was the recipe? Was the recipe they were working on? And I actually tried to go to the event, but I could not figure out how to get in because I wasn't getting the right links or something. And then Ayesa, who is our poison taster today, made this cake or this pie. Isn't it pretty with her little pumpkins on there? Looks delicious.
That was entered into Prettiest Pie, just in case people are wondering.
Yeah.
Down to the next one, our poison taster has also made, she made 3 pies in total. So that one was a pumpkin pie.
And this one you said was what, apple pear?
This one I believe is an apple pie, yes.
Just apple or apple pear?
I thought it was apple pear.
Okay. Well, it's very
Yes.
pretty. Has lots of cool decorative elements to it. And
Yes.
then this one is really fun. Was in the cutest pie category. The Kraken sinking the North ship with blue. What did you tell me the waves were meringue?
Yes, it is a meringue pie, but yes, it's a chocolate meringue pie, but it was dyed blue for waves.
Bluish.
But well, sea blue.
What did she say?
She said in her defense, she did the first 2 attempts did not come out well, and that's all of the rest of the blue she had.
Oh, well, it's very cool. I enjoyed it very much. Then Hillary, who made the video for the dumplings, also included this lovely looking peach pie. I definitely want to nom that because I love peach pie. And Magdalene asked if anybody, I'm interjecting here for a sec, asked if anybody made the pumpkin pie from the Tasting History video that was going around recently. And I know that I have not, but I do plan to eventually. Magdalene, did you make it? Was that your pie?
No, I haven't tried his recipe yet, but I have all their ingredients ready to go.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'd love to hear how that goes when you get it done.
All right.
Then Estria Kyrie has graced us with the Cthulhu pie. I'm not sure. Do you guys know what's inside of it, Lizette? Is it cherry?
It looks like cherry.
We think it's strawberry rhubarb.
Oh, yum. That's one of my favorite pies. And then I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Antoinette.
You got it.
How do you say your name?
Antoinette.
Antoinette made this gorgeous sugar paste nautilus and displayed it very lovely. It looks like it came right off the wall at a castle somewhere. Is that a candlestick holding it up?
Yes, the Nautiluses were actually designed and held with gold work. The actual shells were polished, and then the gold merchants would put them together with all this glorious stuff. And I chose to make it in sugar paste. So it just so happened I had a candlestick I could sit it on because they always stood up from the tables.
Very cool. Well, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
And then let's see, next up is from Jana. Also a lovely subtlety with from a green man. That's a mold, right?
Yes, she's extremely adept at pouring sugar And she pours it into molds from recipes from the 16th century. And she has quite a collection of molds, but her Green Man mold is about her best.
Yeah, well, this is beautiful, has so many great colors in it, very fall,
Mhm.
very nice for this time of year. And I love that she posted so many different pictures so that you can see the light coming through it and such.
I really like this one. It's super cool.
And when displayed, is it like at an event, would it be just be by itself, or would it be on top of something?
Generally, this picture from the Tournaments Illustrated, the Green Man would be displayed on a plate as an example of quality poured sugar from the chef.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like placed on top of the cake or anything like that?
I don't believe so, not poured sugar.
Okay,
John is quite an expert on this. She also can pour a perfect sphere.
nice.
That's impressive.
Very.
Must have lots and lots of practice.
She does, many years, lots of research.
And then she also showed us this lovely Springele that she put in the most beautiful cake category. Again, my mom is German from the Stuttgart area, and she made a Springele for many, many years, and actually gave me all the molds, the wooden carved molds that she had. So it kind of, you know, gets me right here. She never made one this big, and this is really pretty, and it says that it has gold powder dusted on it, which unfortunately you can't really see in this picture, but it is very pretty. And I'm not sure that I would qualify as it a cake, but I will take it because it's so pretty. And then of course I made the next pie for my family for Thanksgiving, just because, you know, I was hosting this event and figured I should do something. That is an apple pie, apple sour cream, probably totally not period. I just kind of threw some stuff together and decorated it fancy. And then, Hillary was playing around with marzipan, and I never quite got an answer of whether that was a Cookie Monster or not, but it's kind of cute.
No,
Glad
it's like a marble flooring, and that's a bed with 2 pillows.
Oh, okay, now I get it.
Okay,
I was trying to do like a curtain too and some walls, but my chocolate fell apart and everything, and it was like the last day, and I was just like, you know, I'm no.
Well, I'm glad you were having fun playing with it, and I'm sure as you practice more, it'll get better and better, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that kind of stuff from you. And then Mistress Magdalene has shown us her lovely and delicious looking pumpkin pie with cute little decorations around the edge. And then I think the next one also is from her and is is that apple? Magdalene, you're muted. Is that apple? I think she's nodding yes.
Yes.
And you said it has silver sugar on it. How do you do silver sugar? Is it just like from
You just buy it already colored that way.
Okay.
So you know how you get all the different colored sugars? I just had some that was silver colored.
Yeah. Well, that one looks also very tasty.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, the lattice is very crooked, but it did taste good.
It looks like we have some new entries at the bottom.
Yeah, some very late entries. Unfortunately, we are not able to include them in our gift giving because we had the deadline of the 2nd, and we got together and decided on our judging on Thursday. But these are really cool too.
Yes, they're
with snow sounds very interesting. Terry, would you like to tell us about this? If you're here. Well, that looks really good. And me and my family are having a tea pretty soon. And I would love to know what the snow is, if it's something other than whipped cream. but they're very cute. And then her subtlety is beautiful, the Viking longship. And I'd love to know more about that. It
She
looks
said
like it's,
whipped cream with a bit of rose water added,
very nice.
and it's very good that way.
It sounds delicious. And is this your, so Terry is the same as Paisley? Is that what I'm getting from this?
No, that's what she wrote in the chat. Her
Oh.
microphone's not working.
Okay, I can't
It's-
actually see the chat right now because it's big.
It's Baroness Eleonora is the one that did those.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us, and they're beautiful. This Viking longship is really cool.
That looks to be the last one.
Okay, yes,
If you wanted to play the last part of my video, there's a little, like, I'm sure you saw the funny part with Nick and Cindy and whatnot. I know they were happy to make it and stuff like that, and they kind of wanted to get it shown.
oh, the end of your dumpling video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that something you could do, Kian?
Submission to the Great Medieval Baking Show on how to cook recipe 193, my interpretation of making chicken dumplings.
My way of cooking chicken, I will be doing.
So yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
I've got about 4
Right. Okay, a little bit back.
to a lord and lady, wonderfully
Yeah, right about there-ish.
Garlic, rosemary flavor,
It'll just give it a few seconds and it'll go to the
wonderfully tender, and so well mixed with Parmesan. Pepper, just great toppings. I also fed it to some of my family. They had a bite and they really loved it as well. And that's all well and good, but I think maybe if you also got opinions from people in the barony or thereof, perhaps that would also help sway you. So, without further ado, we'll take it to a lord and lady well known here in Mons Contra Nitris and see how they feel.
My lady, would you like some music for dinner this evening?
Oh, that'd be lovely, my lord.
Right away. Bringeth thy meal. We are hungry. Let's see. Carving knife. Knife and pick up.
You and your knives.
This won't do. There we are. Dig in, dear. The kitchen wench had worked hard on this. Oh. How do you like the dumplings, my dear?
They're excellent, my lord.
Scrumptious. Would you like some butter and bread?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, my lord.
You're welcome.
My lord, I really wish you would bring a sword to the dinner table.
Where are my manners? Sorry.
Right, a bigger sword?
My love, my lady, this is German's finest technology. It is called a Grossmesser. It's a knife. It's constructed like one.
It's still not appropriate for the table, my lord.
I have spoken.
That was really cute.
That's priceless.
For anybody who doesn't know, Lord Gerhardt very much into his swords and has very, very, very many of them in his home and is always trying to share them with others as well. All right, Lizette, would you like to go first with who the cutest subtlety prize winner?
Would you like me to show my prizes for?
If you'd like to, mine are kind of are in process because I have to wait for people's information.
Yes, but mine are done and with
Yes.
me. Would you like me to show them?
That would be fabulous. She worked very hard on making prizes for the people, for the winners, and so every winner is getting a prize from me and one from her. So when we're gonna post the email address to send your address to, so that we can mail it to you, please. We'll put it in the chat so that you know where to send it. So please send it in a week so that we can get that going.
Also have it in the end screen for the presentation as well.
It's on the end screen, like a picture you're going to put up later?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm ready. So, most period-looking subtlety is The Nautilus by Antoinette de Martel. And you get this lovely paper mache sun mask that I have made.
I love it.
I misunderstood. I thought you were going to show the prizes and then we would announce the winners.
Yeah, sorry, I gave, it was a communication gap there from me to Lizette. I gave it to him in order so that he could put up the pictures of the prize winners.
Oh, Ate, I am sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, who was that and what was the category?
Well, you said you were going to do it in order of what I gave you, so we can just do it that way. It'll be easier.
Okay, let me start over then. Sorry, my fault. Okay, so cutest pie is.
So if you just put up the picture for cutest pie first, please. Or it's actually cutest subtlety. It was a subtlety was the category, but.
Oh, cute.
So our Cthulhu pie was our cutest. I don't know exactly how you say that. Cthulhu cute, but this one kind of is. So we went with Estria's pie. Thank you very much for entering. And do you want to show the prize for that one?
So she gets the lovely Entenwelt sun mask.
Very nice.
Nice.
I believe most beautiful pie is next.
Yes.
Hey, that's mine.
Most beautiful pie is the Apple Roses pie by Ayesa Narabrenga.
And we both really liked it, so we decided that you had to have that prize, and I will be bringing them over to your house when I come and get them.
Ooh, which one of these do I get then?
Yeah. Well, that's up to Lizette. She's the one giving you those. And then
So,
next up,
I made this one for the BTY winners. It's a boar mask.
oh, nice. So you're gonna give her the boar. That's wonderful. I hope to see that at an event sometime.
Me too.
Next up is the Beth Holiday subtlety. And yeah, the Green Man is really great. Loved it. So Jana will be receiving a prize for that. Do you want to show off the item she's getting?
She will also get a lovely Atenvelt sun mask.
Very nice. And then we have one more that I've lost my little paper for. Who's our last one? Ah, the Nautilus. Yes, I love this actually. I love that it looks so very period and like it should be on the hand painted on the wall of some castle somewhere. So thank you for entering. And would you like to show the mask for that one?
You also get a lovely Atenvelt sun mask, which is very pretty.
Very cool. And then all of you are getting a prize from me. You'll see what it is when you get it. Please include your modern and SCA name and where you're from and your address and all that kind of thing in your email so that I can get those mailed out to you. I'm making them special to your heraldry, so I will be looking that up hopefully on the OP, or if you want to send that along as well, so that I can put that on there.
We have one more category.
Yes, I've lost the page of that, so if you could put that up, then I will know what I'm talking about. Oh yes, most beautiful cake, also for Jana. So you actually get 2 things, but I was planning on doing a different thing. Since you're getting 2 prizes, I'm just going to add a different prize because you don't exactly need that many masks, and that the other item is going to be kind of just to your kingdom or something, so that you could give one away. Does that sound good? I don't think she's actually with us, but anyway, hopefully we will get some emails from people so that we can send them out, and the social media at atenvelt.org is where you want to send all your information, please. Also, like I said, I'm doing them with your heraldry on it, so it will not get sent out all that quickly. It might take a little while, so eventually something will show up in your mail.
Yay!
Did everybody who won something see that information? Do I need to put it in the chat too, as far as the email goes?
I can also reshare it.
I see that Kian has put it in the chat, so you can go look for it there too if you need to, if you missed it.
And from the chat, you can copy and paste.
Put up the slide of the cutest winner.
No,
put up
the slide of the how to.
Oh, put up the slide for the how to claim your stuff again, please. So we can take a picture of it.
No, so that I can send it to Anna.
Yeah, and it says prizes will be mailed out the following week, and that is totally not true.
Again, I apologize. I just assumed. And we all know about assuming things.
Yeah, that's totally okay, though. I just wanted to make it clear that they should not be waiting for it the week after, because as I said, I'm doing it personalized to each person. I'll get them out as quickly as I can. With holiday stuff, it might actually not be till January, so we'll see how far I get with it.
Can you put up that slide with the Cthulhu pie, the winner? I would like to send it to her. She had to work today, so I would like to send her the screenshot of her winning.
I'm also curious. I know that at least one person is from Callantyr. Do we have, what other kingdoms do we have people from?
I'm from Middle.
Very cool. So that makes 3 kingdoms so far.
I would like to point out, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a proud mommy for a minute.
Mom, no,
But
no.
But I'm very excited that I would like to thank you all for making this event great. This is the first time that my daughter has co-autocrated an event. And I would just like to thank you all for showing up and making it special and participating in it. So thank you so much. It warms my heart to see so many people showing up. So thank you so much.
And I would like to thank everybody for coming too. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but I was winging it and hoping that it would go okay. And I think it went pretty well. So thank you all so much for coming. And keep making cool stuff and share it with us.
Shoshana, you have several more kingdoms. Check your chat.
The chat has posted several more.
Oh, yeah.
Midrow.
Turn right onto Vistoso Village Drive.
Glen Aubin, which is, yeah, that's quite a lot. That's really cool. Thank you so much for coming. And here,
This is
should be
I think one of the cool things about this pandemic, I know there's not very many cool things, but I've been trying to find the good things, and one of the good things is that we can get together with our brothers and sisters from so far away and be able to meet them and see what cool stuff they're making and enjoy each other's company. And I'm really actually quite pleased with that. I've gotten to go to several things in other places that I wouldn't necessarily ever be able to go to in real life.
I just want to let everyone know that this video will be edited and uploaded to the Kingdom of Atenveldt YouTube channel. So if you do want to see the event again, you'll be able to do so from there.
One of our guests has said that if this was a monthly or periodic event, they'd be thrilled to join. So that's pretty cool. Thank you so much for that. Oh, and this event prompted an event in Glen Aubin, so I'm happy to pass on the idea. I actually got the idea from somebody in Caid that I was talking to a few months ago. So yeah, just spread it around and share.
Would it be possible if someone does do another event similar to this, if they might be able to post it back on this page? I don't know about anybody else, but being in Callantyre, I just found out about this like yesterday or the day before. And that way it would give us more time to be able to plan and to join.
So one of the things that, as social media officer for the Kingdom, one of the things that I've noticed is we do not have much cross-kingdom posting of events. So that's one of the things that I will be addressing next year, so that we have more inter-kingdom communication.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
One of my things is that, we were always before this, we were always so focused on like local and doing things in-person kind of stuff. And so we didn't really have a lot of content out there as far as different events and stuff, that we didn't have anything to put out there. And with the world being so social media oriented now, I think it's fabulous that we have all this content coming up now, and absolutely sharing it everywhere, I think is a really good idea. Then, hopefully other people will be like, ooh, that sounds like fun. Let's go see what they're doing over there.
If you could, to help facilitate this, if you could contact your Kingdom social media officer and ask them to invite me to join their group, that would make things a lot easier. Do we have anything else to discuss?
Oh, I just wanted to tell Antoinette that I actually got this idea from some people in Kaid, and as far specifically the part about all cooking the same recipes, they said that that's how they do their Cooks Guild meetings they've been doing them the whole pandemic that way, meeting on Zoom, and then everybody cooks the same thing and then they discuss it. And so I was hoping that that would go over here as well, you know, because it's new, not very many people made it, or actually I think only 2 of us did, but hopefully, you know, as things like this catch on, more and more will happen where we can all cook it together and discuss it and figure out, you know, like the best way that we think it would work and things like that.
I will say that since I have a mic now, if anybody had questions about anything to do with the Viking launch ship or the wafers and snow, I would be glad to answer anything they might have questions on.
What was the wafers and snow? That was the one with the strawberries on it?
Uh-huh.
And you said that had rose water?
Yes, it's basically whipped cream and rose water. It's, I believe, 14th century English recipe. And it also, in the recipe itself, it talked about using, you could also put rosemary across the top to create a more winter type theme. So, and the wafers, if I remember right, I believe are French. I want to say ménagier, but I could be wrong. I don't have my documentation in front of me right now.
So is that like a pastry, like sort of like croissant type pastry, or?
Well, I made them in like to be like a pizzelle. They talk about them being put between 2 metal plates and heated. Actually, Countess Gwen here in Callantyre has a wafer maker that's really awesome, and it sits in. It sits in a bottom of a. It's almost like one of the Tudor dishes for warming, but it sits in the. She puts coals in a. Oh my goodness! In a clay container, and then you take the metal pieces and you lay it over it. So, and you put the wafer, it's runny, it's like a pancake dough is about what it's like, and you put it in there and put it over there. And so she had done some documentation, and I believe she said that was as close a period as she could get to what it was, but they were just they were called wafers or waffles, but they were very thin. And there's also references to where they would put cheese between them.
Oh, that sounds good too.
Mm.
Very cool. And then we have somebody asking, did you add the tongue to the dragon after baking partially? I was impressed on the even color, very inspiring.
No, the tongue was part of the head. What I did was I did the head and the tongue as a part, and then I did the tail as a part, and then the middle portion, I basically took a large roasting pan and covered it with foil and wove the bread dough over the roasting pan. So when I took it to site, it was actually in 3 pieces. It was like a large bowl, like a large woven bread bowl. And then the tail and the head was separate. I got lucky and everything just worked really well. It all baked very evenly. And then I put it together using basically wooden rods, like barbecue skewers, which would have been a wooden rod. And I stuck those to secure it. And then that whole middle portion that's filled with fruit was a bowl. It was a hollow portion. And incidentally, the tongue was the first thing eaten. It was stolen and eaten first.
So when you baked it, it was like standing up while you baked it, because like it wouldn't have. You don't want it to have a bottom, right? So it was standing up like on a frame of foil. Is that what you were saying?
For the middle part, for the part that was a basket, yeah, what I did is I basically took a roaster and turned it upside down. So it'd be like if you took a bowl and turned it upside down.
Yeah.
And then I put foil over that bowl or that roaster, and I oiled the foil first and then put it over the roaster. And then I literally wove the bread dough onto that shape.
Right. But the head.
And then I put I put the roaster on a large pan and slid it into the oven.
Right. But the head and the tail, like we can't see the back. Does it look the same from both sides because you cooked it standing up, or did you lay it flat?
No, they were flat. They were flat.
So more of a thing to put against the wall if you're serving it.
Yeah.
And
Excuse
then
me just a second.
somebody asked how you did the rose water for the strawberry tart thing.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? My husband just asked me a question.
Somebody in the chat was asking how you made the rose water.
You can cheat like I did, and I actually just purchased the rose water. You can do that at most Middle Eastern groceries if you're lucky enough. You can also get it online. But if you want to do it yourself, it's an evaporation issue. So what you would do is, like, if you build, you have your pot on the bottom. It's very much like a double boiler. You have your pot on your bottom, and then you put your rose petals in. So if you have a strainer that would fit, you could put your rose petals into the strainer. So, and basically what happened, you put the top on the double boiler. So what it does is it goes up and the top catches the steam and it pulls it back down into the rose petals. And what it does is it pulls the essence out of the rose. So you're basically using a steam method to pull the flavor out of the roses. So, and you can do it, but if you try to do it, you need to make sure you need to get food grade roses, or roses from someone that does not use a pesticide of any kind on it, because it will affect your outcome, and it can make not only affect the taste, it could make someone sick. So the easiest way to do it and the safest way to do it for a group of large people is to just purchase your rose water.
Yeah, I worked in a flower shop for a very long time. You do not want to use any of the flowers that they serve, that they have in a flower shop for your food stuff. Do not eat the petals. Don't get even if they're supposed to be edible, do not eat any of that stuff, because it is completely covered in pesticides and it has a whole bunch of other icky stuff in it. And then we also dip it in this liquid that is not just water to help preserve them longer. You do not want to eat any of that stuff ever. You can get food grade things at grocery stores sometimes, but mostly, like for that many roses, you'd have to special order them or get them like from your own yard or something.
Yeah, so the easiest way is just to check a Middle Eastern grocery store or order it online. And the bottle is about maybe 4 inches tall, but it lasts forever. You can also get orange blossom water. So like in one of the Spanish, I call them bizcochos. They're basically a little round cookie. And it requests orange blossom water. You can also purchase orange blossom water online if you're going into things like that.
Lizette was asking about if you could make orange oil, and Kian answered by saying that he's you just put boiling water over the peels. And again, you don't want to use the grocery store ones because they put stuff on it. So make sure you've grown them yourself or got them from your friend's your neighbor's house or something.
Mhm. Yeah. I've actually too just taken it generally comes from the peels, not from the orange itself. So you just want to do the peels. But yeah, I've done that and then thrown the peels in honey and let them steep in honey for a while. And you can create a orange honey that way too. So if you're looking for the flavor of orange.
Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
Hey, wait, so I am actually curious about this, about the orange thing. So you take the orange, so you boil water and then you take the orange peels and put them in the water?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you
Have you ever made candied orange peels?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the easiest way to do it is to just take that top layer of your orange peel, just like you do to make candied orange peels, and you could just put it in the water and boil it in the water and pull those oils out. And to keep from getting that pithy part, I recommend using a peeler, a good vegetable peeler, and instead of actually peeling the orange with your hands and then trying to scoop all of that white pith out, just take your vegetable peeler and then run it lightly over the top of your orange. And what it does, it's going to give you just that top bare layer. So you don't have to go through with all of that. So basically, when you're boiling your orange peels, if you boil your orange peels like you're making candied orange peels, pull your water off, just save your water, and that could be an orange water. You might want to boil it down a little bit to get a stronger flavor with the orange oil, but you could do it that way.
Okay, but how do you get the oil though? Like, where's the oil gonna be? I don't understand. I'm confused. So I put the water in, I put the oranges in, and that boils.
Turn down your heat because you don't want it to continue to boil, but you do want it to cook. Water and oil do not mix. The water will evaporate and leave the oil behind.
And if you don't want to skim the oil off, or if there's just a little bit, because it doesn't take a lot of oil to make that flavor, what you could do is put it in a container, and before you use it to add that flavor, just shake it up really good. And it's not going to completely emulsify it, but it will mix it through enough that you're going to get some of that orange oil when you add it to what you're making.
Yeah, see, I have like the amber bottles and everything, and I wanted to, like, we have an orange tree outside and it produces so much, and I wanted to do something with the byproducts. We've made like orange peel and dried it, right, for largesse, but I wanted to make orange oil and give it away as well. And but I tried like the vodka method where you like soak it and then it molded. It was gross. Like I've tried and tried. But I mean, this sounds super easy, so I'll give it a whirl.
I'll post something in the event page for the Great Medieval Baking Show that gives you links to the difference between a concoction, a decoction, an infusion, et cetera, so that you can get an idea of the basic methods and what the differences are.
Thank you. Yes, Grandma.
I was going to say, Lady Gita down in Mons has made a number of infused oils, and she may have some hints to help you also in terms of not having them getting rancid or moldy or whatnot, because she gives them as largesse as well. And I don't know if I've ever had an orange infused oil from her, but I know she does those. And maybe one of the Mons folks can connect you up. I'll try to connect up with her too, because if she has any recipes, I know you'd try all the different methods, find what works the best.
Byproduct. It'd be nice if it turned into something useful.
Bethany also suggests that a friend of hers cold infuses honey with organic rose petals. That sounds very tasty too. So possibly different mediums to try putting stuff in, like a orange honey. That would be yummy.
That sounds good.
And Mistress Magdalene asked if anyone in our event is hosting any classes or teaching any classes at any future events that we could attend.
I misunderstood that. I thought that she was suggesting that we have specific culinary classes.
Well, it sounds to me like she's asking if anybody's teaching, but you know.
Well, it could work either way. That's fine with me.
Baroness Alianora seems like she has a lot of knowledge that she could share, as well as many of the other people that have joined us today.
And that is what in fact prompted my question, because she is a wonder. Thank you for joining us, Alianora.
Oh, thank you. I feel I miss it so much. My family was laughing at me at Thanksgiving because I just kept making things, because there were 3 people at our house at Thanksgiving, and I have missed cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking so much that it was just, yeah. I currently don't have any classes scheduled at this time. But what I can do is we here in Calontir held when the whole world started closing down, we did have a little unofficial symposium, and there might be some classes that you might want to look at that were recorded. Let me see what I can do. What I'll do is I'll contact with the person who was in charge of the video side of it for us, and I will post that information of those classes that are recorded in the main group page on Facebook. I did do a cheese class during that, but I haven't done much since then. But yeah, it's about time that I get off my legs and off my rear end and do something else. But I don't have anything planned, but I'd love to hear if anybody else does.
So we have a 50th anniversary virtual event for our kingdom in January, on January 16th. We still have teaching spots available up through December 19th. And I am planning to do a culinary cookbook class in regard to the essential period cookbooks that you should have in your library. Because I have a peer, my Laurel is Master Domingo, and he from the moment I met him would always, needle at me about what new cookbook he got. And so I was always trying to keep up with him. And so I have a pretty extensive library. So I just got to work out with one of our gals here, Baroness Sigrid. She's going to help me so that I can get good images of the books, and then we'll discuss which ones you should have. And as an example, 2 15th century cookery books is one of the copies I have. And it's a really great cookbook to have if you are a medieval foodie. So, but that won't be till January 16th, but that's the one I'm teaching. And I would love to, I'll make sure that the word gets out to Calontir so that people have notice.
Yeah, I think we've been posting a lot of places. I don't know if we've gotten every kingdom so far, but most of us that are assisting with that event are trying to get out the word as much as possible. But it's also been really cool that, a lot of this stuff is getting recorded. I've heard about quite a few collegiums that have happened, and there was lots of recordings done at those. And you can go kind of all over the known world and find classes that people have done. And I think that's fabulous. So linking those to all sorts of places too, so people can find them. I know that one of our lovely soon-to-be Pelicans has been posting like a calendar of all the things that are coming up And there's like, it's full all the time with all the different classes and events and musical bardicky things coming up, and anything that you can possibly do on Zoom is happening. And I think that's lovely.
One of the things we're trying in our canton is to have a Zoom 12th night feast. And what I'm going to try to do, and get one of the other cooks to help me, is to make little do-it-yourself baskets, so you can come do a drive up, pick up your food and take it home and heat it up, and everybody can sit down and enjoy a 12th night feast. It's in the plannings and working stages right now. We're going to see how it works, and I thought it'd be fun to get together and share cooking.
Our version of at our virtual 50 year is going to be that we get the recipes for some sauces, and then you can like go get your own chicken nuggets or strips or whatever from wherever you want, or make them yourself, and everybody has the same sauce. There was a concern about and this actually started before the pandemic as far as health concern stuff, because I think that pretty soon all feastocrats are going to have modern certification of some sort. I can't. Do you remember what that's called, Magdalene?
No. Sorry.
I've heard about it like at least like last year. I heard about this last year, that this was coming down the pike from the muckety mucks at the top, the bod, and
Well, a lot of mundane sites are now requiring a food handling, food service certificate, which are usually issued by the states
yes, the food
for the
has,
use of their site.
yeah, so that's coming down the pike, that we're going to have to do that every time that we have an event, and so that's kind of a pain, but
Well,
That's what
once
it
you get
is.
your certificate, it's good for a couple of years and you renew it simply. I
Yeah.
had them when I worked in the restaurant business. I don't have mine anymore because I've been retired a while.
it's just that it's new for us, and it's something we're going to have to deal with, just like we had to deal with getting our fingerprints to work with kids and all the other kind of legalese stuff that happens when you're in a big organization. But it's like I said, I heard about this last year, so it did have nothing to do with the pandemic. I think it's possibly just going to make it more urgent for the bod to deal with.
Well, there are a lot of very good things for people to be aware of. And over my years, I have seen a number of kitchen practices that, well, let's just say were plain scary.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's
I can
something
agree.
that we shouldn't comment on. Again, this will be posted to YouTube, although I can edit that out. I would prefer it not to be a long conversation.
Okay, well, you could just cut off the end. We're just kind of yammering now, so.
Okay, I'll stop recording then.
Okay, thank you very much.